4 ways to defend the jab. The jab is the most important punch in boxing. So if you can defend it, then it's only going to make your skills even better. So the most fundamental way of defending the jab is to parry it, and typically we parry it with the backhand, the right glove, orthodox versus orthodox, right? Now if it was southpaw versus orthodox, that would be different. We'd be catching it on the front hand. Orthodox versus orthodox, which most of the time is what's happening. I'm going to throw the straight jab, he's just going to parry it with that back glove. Now the key to a good parry is to allow the jab to travel, right? You don't want to be meeting it early and bringing the glove away from the face. The minute that that glove gets away from the face, it's easy for me to feint him, get him to drop it, step in with the hook, and I'm in control from there, right? So anytime we're defending with the gloves, defending the jab with the gloves and using that parry, make sure you let the jab travel, right? You've got to allow that jab to get close to your face. Boom, boom, right? So if he's letting me do that, and I'm fully extending my jab and I can't get through because his glove's there, it's going to force me to start feinting him, right? Now, if he's still not falling for those feints and he's used to parrying that jab all the time and not letting that hand drop, then it's hard for me to even sell him after that too, because if he doesn't react to that feint, I can't get around with that hook. So that's the key. Don't fall for that feint and bring that glove away. Remember, when you're blocking that jab, let the jab travel. If you start getting into the habit of meeting it too early, before it gets close to the head, you're bringing the glove away from the face, leaving yourself wide open. So rule number 1 with the parry, let the jab travel. So if you're throwing it at me, throw it right at my face, boom, just parrying it at the last minute and making sure that parry is a nice small movement. Last thing we want is this, I'm getting big. Let the jab travel, just a short little parry. Another key to this as well, if you've got somebody who's got a really strong jab and starts throwing power jabs, make sure that fist that you're parrying is nice and tight. Be nice and strong with it. Almost think that you're trying to deflect the punch. And here's an advantage to that too. If you've got a strong fist and you deflect that jab, so just try and knock it away a little bit, and you're kind of pulling my arm off my center line and pulling me off balance a little bit with it. So think about being strong with that parry. If he pulls that off, now I'm wide open. You can counter with that right hand right over the top of that. If you're kind of loose with it, a couple of things can happen. Number 1, if that fist's loose, bang, next time I'm just going to make him think, oh, I'm just throwing a light jab, get him into that false sense of security that everything's kind of light, and then next time, boom, I'll throw one in and it'll go right through that glove and land, right? So there's number 1, the standard parry. That's most of the time what we're going to be learning from the ground up when we're learning how to defend a jab. The second one, that was the gloves. Now we're going to start using the head movement. We're going to work on the slip. So for the slip, this is a little trickier and it's a little bit more risky because it requires you to be a little closer in range, right? With the parry, you can kind of stay back at range and kind of catch it from distance. But with the slip, there would be no need to slip from there because my jab's kind of just landing where his head is, right? Now with the slip, he's got to step in a couple of inches, tempt me into throwing that punch. Now I think, oh, he's here. I can land that jab now. Now it's going right over the shoulder with the slip. So if we think about a line going right between the middle of us, right here, he's just taking his head off of that center line, right there, and allowing that jab to fly right over the shoulder. Now the key to being able to pull off the slip, it requires great reflexes, great reaction times. So the key is to kind of look at the shoulders, and if you've got somebody who kind of telegraphs that jab just as slight, you can just go and you've already slipped that jab. Puts you in a great position to counter right there. As soon as I've missed and that jab's flown right over his shoulder, he's safe and he's away from this right hand. He can land that right hand to the body right there. Boom. Counter shot. He can land the right hand over the top. Boom. Right there. Or he can just simply get out and just take a step back because he's on balance. He can get away from whatever's going on. So a couple of advantages to the slip. You're not taking any impact. There's no chance that punch is going to slide through. It's completely missed your head. The downside of the slip, you're still in range to get punched, right? If he slipped my jab right here, I can still hit him on the arms. I can hit him on the shoulders. I can land body shots. He's still in range to get hit. He's relied on that close range to be able to slip it, but I can still follow that missed jab up with other punches. So that's always the danger and the risk when you're in close and you're relying on that head movement, is you're always still in range to get hit. Another option with the slip is to slip the jab to the inside. So typically if we were slipping across, he would slip it to the inside, right? Because he's safe and away from all my other punches. But you can also slip the jab to the inside too. And I'll just turn that right shoulder, he slipped it to the inside. It puts him in a great position to land that lead uppercut to the chin, right there, which is a typical counter off that slip inside. He can land a body shot, boom. It's getting him inside. That's why it's called slipping inside, right? Slipping to the inside. The huge danger with this is you're slipping straight into the danger zone of that right hand right there. So if you are going to slip the jab to the inside and slip it to your left as an orthodox boxer, then that counter punch has got to be quick, and you've got to be 100% certain that the right hand isn't being followed up after that jab. Because if there's an element of doubt, boom, boom, that right hand's going, you're going straight into that right hand, and 9 times out of 10, walking into a power punch like that result in a knockdown or a knockout. So as soon as that slip inside happens, you've got to be 100% confident this isn't coming, and you've got to be faster and beat the opponent to the punch with the counter punch, with probably the lead uppercut or lead uppercut to the body, something like that. So anytime you're slipping inside, make sure there's a quick counter behind it. So slip in, counter, yeah, exactly. So just be wary of that if you're slipping the jab to the inside. 9 times out of 10, if you are slipping, the safest option is to go to that power side, and it also sets you up for that power counter as well, all right? So there's your options for slipping the jab. All right, number 3, blocking the jab, believe it or not, with the forearm. So you kind of, with this, as you see the jab coming, it's just a case of lifting the elbow and just allowing it to hit the forearm. That's not going to feel good for your opponent when their fist landing on bone like that. So it's a great way to defend the jab. It feels kind of safe. It's protecting the chin. It's also preventing me from throwing that right hand. But what I would say the downside to this is it's just leaving the rib cage exposed. So if I see you do that 2 or 3 times, boom, boom, there, boom, then get you into a false sense of security, boom, step in, and then I'm wide open for those ribs right there. So that's the downside of blocking the forearm. Kind of a more old school way of blocking it. You'll probably see people like Andre Ward using this technique a lot through his career. But yeah, it's on the defensive side, it feels really good and solid just to kind of, boom, it's an easy reaction to just lift and block. But again, just be wary if you are using it, don't use it all the time and then allow your opponent to see that opening with the rib cage, okay? Before I get to the 4th one, my favorite, I just want to remind you, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell on the channel. That way you're going to get notified of the videos each week. Leave any questions, thoughts, feedback in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about this stuff too. Let me know what your favorite way of blocking the jab is. All right, so number 4, my favorite way of blocking the jab, simply just to step back and use footwork for defense. So as soon as you see that jab coming, back foot steps out, we're out of range. We're in a safe zone. Now you can use the feet to get back in if you want to counter, right? So right here, it's real simple, but it's actually more hard. It's a lot more difficult than it looks. The jab's coming in, step, back in, step. The best thing about this, couple of things. Number 1, once he stepped out of range, there's no chance I'm hitting him from there, right? He's completely safe from everything. So that's the safest way. You're not taking any impact on the gloves. There's not a chance of catching extra shots. He's out of range. He's clear. The added benefit of that as well, as soon as he steps out of range and I've really committed to that jab, it can pull me off balance and throw me into the danger zone as his opponent. So he's thrown that, boom. There is a chance I've fallen short. It's going to pull that momentum off. Especially if I'm throwing a combination like a 1-2 and committing to some power, boom, boom, then I'm more likely to be off balance and walk straight into those counter punches. So in my brain and my opinion, footwork always the number 1 option for defense. Now the tough thing about footwork for defense is it just requires really good reflexes and reactions in the feet, whereas blocking punches, catching and slipping punches, using your gloves and your head movement is one thing. That does require good reactions and timing, obviously, but then to be able to do it with your feet, whole different ball game. So a good drill for this, anytime he sees that jab coming in, he's ready, he kind of just sits like with his feet a little bit narrower than they normally would do and just kind of drops into that back foot. Boom, drops into the back foot and kind of pushing off this front foot to get out. So the key is just as soon as he sees me go, react with the feet. There, good. And again, nice, perfect. The added benefit of this as well is what's called a phase attack. So as soon as he steps back and he's made me miss, he's loaded up on that back foot. He can come in with a 1-2 and really push off that back foot and counter with the feet too, right? If he wants to. He can get out, get straight back in with the feet. Out, back in with the feet. And there's plenty of footwork drills you can do to practice this kind of stuff. But the key is just having those loose knees and those springy feet just kind of push off out, push off in, right? And countering when you're coming back in. So there's my favorite way of defending the jab, simply just to step back out of range, make your opponent fall short and put yourself in a perfect position to counter punch. The last thing we ever want to do is keep that head in range to get punched. Slipping, using the gloves is good, but again, there's always that risk that you can eat other punches. As soon as those feet are out, you're safe, you're in control, you can counter, you can move around the ring and put your opponent where you want them. So footwork is always number one. Let me know what your number one way of defending the jab is. You might have a different opinion. If you do, leave it in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That way you're going to get notified each week of the new videos. Thanks for watching. Appreciate all your support, and I'll see you on the next video.